Hello there. Joe and Kevin back from You Talking to Me.
Hello.
Today we have a very special episode. We are talking Star Wars with our buddy Sean Crow.
Good to meet you.
This man probably knows the most about Star Wars.
Yeah, Sean definitely knows more than I do about
More
Star
than
Wars.
most, I would say 98% of the population does. Sean is a huge Star Wars fan. So we're going to kind of get into Star Wars, Obi-Wan, Disney Star Wars versus, the original trilogy, prequels, all that. But first, we kind of want to mention something. We had the chance to see Top Gun.
Yeah. Maverick.
As most of the world has seen.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it is. Tom Cruise quite literally is out here saving cinema. And Kevin, what'd you think about it?
I loved it. I was skeptical when it was coming out before there were any advanced reviews, and then when people started seeing it before I did, they didn't just like the movie; they were incredibly enthusiastic about the movie. Like the kind of excitement that maybe Avatar was the last time I saw people
like a 5-minute standing ovation.
Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of oh my god, drop everything you're doing, go see this movie kind of reaction.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it 3-4 times. That kind of stuff I hadn't seen probably since Avatar when it came out. So that was. My interest is absolutely peaked, and I saw it, and I absolutely loved the movie.
The funny thing is, it's a kind of funny comparison to compare it to Avatar, whereas Avatar is this big IMAX special effects spectacle, whereas Top Gun is like one of the most practical films.
And I love that about it, of course.
And it's still like a giant spectacle,
Yep,
It was fantastic. As far as these like legacy sequels go, which we're going to get into with Star Wars, I think Star Wars being like the first of like the legacy sequels. This film actually might be the best one.
Yeah, I was really surprised at the fact that it was so good for a legacy sequel because they're usually garbage, right? When a sequel comes out more than 5 years after the original, it's generally a money grab and very lazily done and generally pretty crappy.
Yeah.
Almost all the time. I would think of Anchorman 2. I love Anchorman. Anchorman 2 obviously was not nearly as good a movie. Speed 2, we're all talking about Speed 2 Cruise Control with all of these movies. And Top Gun definitely blew all of that away. It's probably a better film than the original.
Yeah, probably. If we're being real, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as the film goes.
I mean, it's not insulting the first film to say that it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's a classic. Everybody loves Top Gun.
It was an 80s era classic.
You watch Top Gun, have a great time.
Yep.
Absolutely. We're not knocking it at all. The funny thing is, I was thinking about this earlier. So obviously, Tony Scott passed away 10 years ago this year, which I realized. This kind of has a weird... it's a weird... You can kind of definitely pair this up with Blade Runner in the sense that both the Scott brothers had these 80s classics that had 2 legacy sequels that are arguably better than the first film.
They're both great.
2049 and now Top Gun Maverick, which is just kind of a weird thought to have, you know what I mean? And obviously both the original actors came back, Harrison Ford for Blade Runner, now Tom Cruise for this. And it's just really, I don't know, it's fascinating,
Right. And you brought in some young hot guy to take the mantle for both with Ryan Gosling and Miles Teller.
Miles Teller, yeah. So, and kind of bringing back the whole Force Awakens thing, it's kind of like, Disney, I want you to look at this, and this is how you do it. This is how you shoehorn in.
Right. And since Sean hasn't seen the Top Gun Maverick film yet, we're not going to get too much into spoilers, as I'm sure there's still a lot of people who haven't seen it that are going to. But recommend, definitely. Now, let's talk really quickly, so we can kind of get a baseline of where we're at on Star Wars.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and start as far as my knowledge base goes. I've, of course, seen all of the films. The original trilogy, most of all. Saw the prequels each one time because I did not really care for them. Saw the sequels each one time because I did not really care for them. And then... Obviously, there's the Solo movie, which I thought is a lot better film than people give it credit for, and Rogue One, which was a fantastic film, and then the Disney Plus series. Where I'm going to be strongly lacking is the animated series. I have seen none of the animated films. I've read none of the books. So, a lot of I just know from talking to people that so much of what's happening in Mandalorian or Boba Fett, and I'm not sure yet about Obi-Wan Kenobi, so much of the stuff from the animated series are being brought in and canonized. And bless you. And I'm sure Sean will be able to speak more intelligently than I will ever be able to about what's being brought in from those shows and how those kind of fit into everything. But that's my knowledge base. I'm someone who's seen all of the movies and then the big 3 live action Disney Plus shows. How about you?
I'm going to sneeze again, sorry.
Yep. It's pollen season.
It is
where
pollen
we're at.
season. Yeah, the allergy season's out. I'm probably a little more keen on the prequel series. Sean and I think both are. We've talked many times about the prequels. We obviously grew up with those films.
Sure.
I love the original trilogy. I think that's obviously the best Star Wars has ever been. The sequels, I'm mixed on it. I think we're going to have a debate about a certain film in the sequel trilogy.
Not mixed at all.
Yeah, not mixed at all. I've never seen the Clone Wars. I've seen a few episodes of it when it was on TV. Sean keeps pushing me to watch it. I need to check it out because it does look incredible, and I think you can kind of gush about that here in a second. The video games were a lot of fun as a kid. The Disney stuff, though, is interesting because I think they're kind of... At first, I was on board, but it kind of seems like there was a turning point, and now I'm kind of sick of it a little bit. So I want them to reel it back a little bit. You know, I actually really enjoy Solo like you do as well.
Yeah.
Rogue One's good. And, you know, the Disney Plus stuff, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, I've read like every Legends book. I've watched every movie, every show except for Resistance, which is like a 12-year-old show. So
that's the... Was that a follow-up to...
It's like Rebels, but for the
Rebels.
The sequels. So it's like after Force Awakens, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a really kid show. So
it's expanding the lore of like the least interesting part of Star Wars,
basically,
in my opinion.
So are you then of the opinion that the more kid-friendly they go, that the less, the more, does it hurt the quality more? Because I feel like in my life, both with the Ewoks and with Jar Jar Binks, I feel like that's what they were doing with those two, and I do feel like that they were hindrances to the story that they were telling.
Justice
in
for
my
Jar
opinion.
Jar. Justice for Jar Jar.
You're a Jar Jar fan?
I'm a Jar Jar fan.
I am
Misa,
definitely not.
Yeah, Misa, a Jar Jar fan, okay?
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar, which is a wild theory. If you guys want to look that up, look it up on YouTube.
What about you, Sean? How are you on? Where do you stand on Jar Jar Binks?
I think Darth Jar Jar would be interesting, but Jar Jar's fucking annoying.
I'm
There we go.
Sean and I see eye to eye on this one.
the odd man out.
If they went the Darth Jar Jar route, it might be interesting. But they didn't. So
I
did start to watch a few episodes of Clone Wars that I'd forgotten that I did, and when Jar Jar came on and that voice, and I was like, I'm out.
I'm out.
They made a Darth Jar Jar reference.
Did they?
Yeah.
I didn't get to that.
He pretended
point.
to be a Jedi and had a hood on.
Really?
Yeah, it was a Darth Jar Jar reference.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
a shame. He's so fucking annoying, but you know.
Lucas is really pushing for that. He's like, can you just put him in a cloak?
Okay, well, I think a good transition with that is this, just a basic start discussion question. Was Lucas relinquishing ownership and control of Star Wars to the Disney Corporation? Was that do you consider that a good thing, or do you think
Horrible.
a bad decision?
Absolutely horrible.
At first, I thought it was a good thing. I think like 80% of the population, like 90% of the population. Back in 2012, when Disney bought Star Wars, we're like, holy shit, we get more Star Wars.
Right.
And like,
And we did.
yeah,
Oh my God, we did.
Oh my God,
yes.
we got way too fucking much. Like, okay, so here's my thing.
Oversaturated bunch.
So what? It's always been 3 years between movies for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Makes it quality.
Yeah, and
Quality.
it's like whether that's because of the special effects at the time, it was a little harder to like
Sure.
to do all that CGI, or back in the original trilogy, I mean, it was just hard to get everybody on set because of all the films they were doing.
Yeah, Harrison Ford was a tough get after that first movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, he was just working with everybody,
Right.
and it's I don't know. I think a movie every 2 years was just too much, and it wasn't even every 2 years. We had the spin-offs in between.
They also weren't good.
Well, Rogue One. So
Rogue One
okay.
was good. Rogue One was
Force
really good.
Awakens, I've really come around on that one the most. I think when I first saw it, I was really jazzed on it, and then like everybody else, I kind of like had that period where
It's just a new hope.
it is just a new.
That
hope,
was my criticism.
to kind of talk about the whole legacy sequel thing. That's what the legacy sequels are. They're
Right.
just rehashings of the first movies, essentially, with like a new paint, basically. So that's kind of what it is, but at the same time, it does have those like nostalgia beats. It has the practical effects because everybody was pissed off that like the prequels were so fake looking. So they brought back a lot of practical effects
Right.
in The Force Awakens.
God, what was the second one? Was it
Oh,
second?
yeah, the Attack
Oh,
of the Clones.
Attack
Attack
of
of
the
the Clones. They went so special effects heavy, and it was garbage.
Okay, well,
You want to hear something sad? So the first clone trooper in live action is in Kenobi.
yeah.
It's the first armor they've made for it.
Oh, is that in the opening scene?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
when all the younglings
He's
are
on
being
the-
killed.
he's on the-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could tell it looked so much better.
So
It
much
did.
better.
But there's a certain like schlockiness to the Attack of the Clones that I like. Attack of the Clones, or I'm sorry, Rise of Skywalker makes Attack of the Clones look like the Godfather.
Really good.
It really does. Like I cannot stand the last Star Wars film.
I just want to point out for a shitty as Attack of the Clones is, Across the Stars is like one of the best soundtracks.
That's the love theme,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
It's like one of the best.
Yeah,
It's such a shitty scene, but like it's a beautiful soundtrack.
Well, they use it at the very end, like when they're going into the arena.
Yeah.
When they're like kissing and like it pans out. And
they also do it for when they get married.
I hate
sand.
Yeah.
I hate sand.
It's so rough.
It's so
and
rough.
coarse.
It's so
What a-
coarse.
And,
Like, and that's what does it. That's when she decides she loves him. Is I hate sand.
No, it was when he cut the pear.
Yeah.
Floating.
Oh, right.
Floating
The
pear,
pear.
yeah.
There you go.
So let me ask you this then, real quick. Sorry. You're kind of talking about going back and forth on The Force Awakens. Do you think that and I'm just going to say it for my personal opinion, and I think Sean kind of agrees, the less success with parts 8 and 9, do you think that kind of clouds what you think of The Force Awakens, or does that enhance what you think about The Force Awakens?
I think it enhances it.
Does it?
Because, so let's say, I know Sean does not like The Last Jedi.
Fucking hate it.
I think most people don't like The Last Jedi.
It's very mixed. There's
Right.
like diehard defenders of it, and there's also...
But how many Star Wars fans like it?
Sure. But here's my thing, though. Okay, so as part of the middle part of a trilogy, that's where it falls apart as a Star Wars movie. I think it's a good movie. I legit think it's a good movie. If it was not dealing with the Skywalker saga, I think Rian Johnson wanted to make an original story inside of Star Wars, which is what most people were pushing for. Because if you hated The Force Awakens, you're like, okay, this is the same movie.
That's true. That's
it's
fair.
the exact
Right.
opposite of that.
Right.
And I get it. I understand. I personally like Luke Skywalker's arc. I like that. You know what I mean? Because Rian Johnson has talked about how it's supposed to be like Arthurian and legend, and how he's flawed now, and he's at the end of his rope, and he's not the same optimist that he was 30 years ago. I get it. But at the same time, it was kind of disappointing to see Luke that way. It was like Logan, but with Luke Skywalker.
Right.
That's just not really what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
You can kind of, if you want to get into that a bit, because Sean has gone off on The Last Jedi before, which I think it's very well made, but
It's horribly made.
Sean,
Beautifully shot, though, I will say. The
Yeah.
cinematography is fantastic.
and I think that's a good segue, Sean. And we will open the floor to your thoughts on The Last Jedi.
Okay,
and Disney Star Wars as a whole.
so lasers don't get lobbed in space. Biggest complaint.
They just keep going.
What a hot
they
take.
shoot. They shoot
Right.
straight. All right.
That's right.
I know what he was going for. The World War II thing. Not how lasers work. Just saying. Also, those bombers so fucking useless. They're the
Bombers
biggest target.
in space. Yeah.
You
I'll make the
literally-
case. That's probably the coolest part of the movie. That was the opening.
It's a cool scene.
Yeah.
Yes, the most impractical fighters.
Right. It followed the rule of cool. Right.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
isn't
the rule of-
realistic or anything. It's just the
You
rule
have
of cool.
Y-wings, which are way more effective.
Right.
And they were already considered slow and sluggish. But you look at them in Rogue One, 3 of them took out a Star Destroyer.
Right.
Yeah.
They're already powerful. They're more maneuverable. And that's just you saw, none of the bombers survived.
Right.
Everyone died trying to protect them to blow up one ship.
Yeah.
Three Y-wings in Rogue One took down a Star Destroyer.
Right.
Quick
No
and done.
muss, no fuss.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
fuss. Plus.
let's see. Fuel in space. Not really how space works.
Running out of gas. Yeah.
Yes. So gas for hyperspace is a thing. That's fine. But they use different types of gas because it's subsonic and then hyperdrive. So,
I did not know this.
yeah. Also, when things run out of fuel in space, they don't fall backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep going, believe it or not.
Those goddamn laws of physics.
I know.
So they're just
Newton.
They're just
Also-
falling somewhere.
Right,
Basically. Yeah.
TIE fighters do not have a range. They just don't have a hyperdrive. So they need to be near a ship with a hyperdrive to transport them.
Mhm.
But in terms of in-system, they don't have a range. It's a fucking spaceship.
Right.
They did not, there's no effective range or TIE fighters can't reach them. That's not how it fucking works. They can go as far as they want. They just can't leave the system.
So it kind of feels like there's no. So basically, there was no meeting of we're going to tie everything in this together.
See, I was about to say almost exactly the same thing. Do you think that there's just a lack of understanding of the lore? Or
Yes.
that we could just say, okay, guys, we can kind of scrap what we want and keep what we want? They knew what they were doing, but said maybe people won't care or pick up on the fact that we're kind of changing our own rules a little bit. Or we
Yeah.
could just say, fuck it, who cares what the rules
I
are?
think it was more deliberate.
You think so?
Because I think Ryan Johnson's
Probably.
a big nerd. He does his research. He's a
Sure.
professional. I think it was probably deliberate.
I don't think he cared.
Exactly. I think he wanted to do something
Also-
different. He wanted to be controversial.
Hyperspace ramming, not a thing. Not
Hyperspace ramming. Oh,
Yes.
the whole
that was
room-
pretty cool.
The whole room maneuver. The whole
that
theater.
definitely followed the rule
The
of
whole
cool.
theater was
on
like,
that.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
would
the
say-
rule of cool.
That was a beautiful scene.
It was,
It was
yeah.
really cool to watch. Really sad as a Star Wars fan. it's not that it's impossible, but based on the range and all that, it's pretty fucking unlikely.
Yeah,
and
it just would have happened.
And it's just so much easier to just ignore it because it makes everything. Well, why didn't you just do that to a Death Star?
Yeah,
I mean, like, does it work? Technically, maybe, but it's like 1 in a bajillion. It's not even a million.
It would have been an easy way to take out a Death Star.
Yes, exactly.
It would take like 30 seconds. Like, okay, we'll just
kamikaze,
suicide.
Yeah,
We need 2 pilots and 2 ships, and we can knock this Death Star down in about 4
And it would have
minutes.
been a lot easier to do than a kind of big flying triangle.
Right.
But also, let's kind of circle back to the first 6 films. Obviously, those are produced by 20th Century Fox, and I don't know if it's just like the nostalgia in me or what it is, because obviously a studio just puts out the film, but also like it just felt different from the 20th century. Dun 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 dun, and then you get the Lucasfilm, and then just the lead in. Like it had this like really cool, exciting hype because they all start the same, and it just puts you in the mood, puts you in the headspace. I'm watching a Star Wars movie.
Sure.
These films, the tone, yeah, and these films, they just don't. They don't have that same like magic. It's just not there. Like the closest like magic, quote unquote, I think is The Force Awakens because it is such a carbon copy.
Sure.
They were literally trying to replicate that, and then Rian Johnson came in, and I appreciated that he did something new with Star Wars. The fact that it was in the middle of the trilogy probably wasn't the best. It probably wasn't the best. And then by the time we get to The Rise of Skywalker, which is just a hot fucking mess, it's like, what are we doing? Like, what do you mean Palpatine's back? It negates
that pissed me off so much.
It negates
in the
whole
crawl, first words.
It negates the whole original trilogy. The whole 6 films don't matter because he's back. And it's all about Anakin's redemption, all about his arc, about how he's supposed to bring balance to the Force. It's just like,
no, we didn't.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Some chick named Rey.
Right.
His granddaughter. Palpatine's granddaughter.
Because we have to have familiar relations for all this.
Palpatine fucks confirmed. Yeah. Which is like a mental image nobody needed.
Technically, he had a clone who had a wife, and they fucked and had a daughter.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yes.
Well, if it was they show his like clone or son in the movie, but it's like doesn't look like Ian McDermott at all.
It's a shitty clone.
Oh, okay.
She didn't have force powers. So.
Force powers, yeah. Is the fuck up clone. Okay, well, it's like, we don't have any lore on that, and I feel like you're a big expanded universe guy.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, like seeing is or reading, quote unquote, is they retconned all the original expanded universe. The whole original EU was gone, and they paved the way for Marvel.
That's why a lot of people don't like Disney when they bought it. They bought it and they canceled every project that was going on. So all the games, Star Wars 13.
Sure.
That I knew. They canceled like 20 book projects.
Oh,
I mean,
but what they replaced it with is just not as interesting.
Oh, it's horrible.
Let me ask you this then. Since the last 3 movies all felt disjointed and like these are clearly done by different people, do you think that Disney Star Wars would benefit from an overlord, kind of like Marvel has with Kevin Feige? You know what I mean? I'm sure they have people
Depends on the person.
Right. Do you think they should...
Kathleen Kennedy's not it.
Do you think if someone like Jon Favreau was like, you are in charge here at the studio as executive producer of all things Star Wars, that would really help? Because I feel like his work on The Mandalorian was great. I feel like he came in and rescued Boba Fett halfway through really well.
It's him and Dave Filoni.
Right, yeah.
Dave Filoni was doing the Clone Wars,
I will say, so
I'm mixed on it.
When they were doing the books, they would have like big planning, like week-long sessions where they'd get every author.
With Lucas.
And I feel you have to.
Get like 2 or 3 like scholars on like where the canon is at now.
Perfect, right.
And
so
they
you
would
can't
do their
fuck
best
something up and go off and do your own thing.
Well, we got to think about this. This was all from Lucas's imagination.
Sure.
This is his world that he was consulting on.
Lucas didn't even contribute that many stories to the book. He just basically told them yes or no.
Right.
Like you can't use that name, or you can't use like Darth Jar Jar, or whatever. Basically, he was like, "That's not my vision. This is."
We're pining for Darth.
And I think that works because you have one central unifying vision. I think the 7, 8, and 9 would have benefited from having someone overhead saying, "Okay, you can't just at part 9 say Palpatine's back. You can't do that."
Yeah. It needed one writer.
Yeah, they did
for all 3.
They did, absolutely.
The director can change. That's fine. It needs
as long as you work with one story, one unified story.
Well, that's okay. So that's Kathleen Kennedy. She's like the overlord right now at Disney, but she's not really. she's like just taking like a business approach to it. She's just trying to like get these fucking things out, you know?
Right.
Whereas like Filoni and Favreau are like kind of working on the Disney Plus side.
Some benefit is, I mean, Disney should have managed it better from their point of view.
I agree.
I mean, if I bought Star Wars, I would have managed it a lot better.
It started off so strong too. Like I think we had Force Awakens. Everybody was pretty satisfied with it. We were like, okay,
yeah, I think so.
Return,
yeah, I think.
Debatable.
It was
no, but like
sure, but it was a positive. It's like okay, this is
public opinion was on their
people
side.
were optimistic after watching The Force Awakens about what the last two were going to be,
and people were all like, Rogue One was a hit, and then it was really
Rogue One was
good,
really
movie.
exceptional.
Yeah, and then it was that has its own set of problems like behind the scenes, but
sure,
but regardless, it worked out.
Yeah,
and then Last Jedi, I think that was the fork in the road.
Oh, 100%.
And then a lot of people were not on board for Solo.
Right.
I personally, I think Solo is one of my favorite Disney projects.
I think Solo has a shitty story, but I do not think the recasting was bad. I
don't either. I had no problem, and I loved Donald Glover as
I liked all the
yeah.
recasting. Honestly, I thought it was pretty solid.
Okay,
I think the story was pretty bad though.
See any more recasting ever again? Did you hear what they said recently? About
yeah, they were.
Then they recast Leia as a kid. You know.
Well, okay, but that's different because you need a child.
Yeah.
You need a child actor for that story.
I don't see the issue with recasting. I think
I don't either. Especially when we were like 40 years out now.
Sebastian Stan should be Luke Skywalker.
I agree.
Stop de-aging him.
But it's
just
not.
Put Sebastian
But
Stan.
here's the thing.
Siege Mark Hamill does not look great.
It's not filmmaking at that point in time. It's not like this. Well, I guess like it is filmmaking, but at the same time, it's not acting. Like you're not hiring actors. You're literally like creating something in a computer, and it's like.
Here's the thing: people don't care if you recast them. People care if the story's good.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's all it is.
I think when people watch, as much as I loved Rogue One, when or what's his name?
Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
Okay, Moff Tarkin.
Came back.
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing. That's what I was trying to think. Peter Cushing.
Yeah, that was good. I actually, but that was an actor that was playing him.
Yeah, and they deepfaked on.
I still feel like Peter Cushing is dead. Bring in another actor. It was controversial and it was distracting. Sitting in the movie theater, I was like, now I'm watching a CGI Peter Cushing and I'm not watching the story.
Show his face.
I don't either.
I think if they didn't show his face, it would have been fine. Show his back.
Agree.
Do his voice. Right. That's fine.
But don't redo his face. Don't put Peter Cushing, who's been dead for 30 years.
I will say, CGI looked better than Leia's.
Leia's was creepy.
Leia's was wild, yeah.
All she said was hope, and it was like, nope, out of this. You look like a weird possessed porcelain doll.
That one was kind of poignant. It was
right.
poignant because Carrie Fisher had just passed away.
Right.
And seeing that, I teared up. I was like, oh, fuck, you got me. I think emotionally it worked. The Peter Cushing thing, it's like, okay, so he was being voiced on set by an actual person. Obviously, they had the deepfake thing on his face. Whereas the Luke Skywalker, they're just fucking...
Well, they used...
Creating it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He used Mark Hamill on set. He did a lot of the actual movements.
No, it was not Mark Hamill. He was on set. There was literally...
For The Mandalorian, at least. I don't know about that.
Well, he was on set, but they had a...
he wasn't for Boba Fett, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Boba Fett.
He was not playing Luke Skywalker. There was a stand-in, body double. It was not Mark Hamill, but he was on set visiting. But the face itself, completely generated.
Oh yeah, it was
horrible. His voice is completely generated.
Horrible.
I don't understand that
at all.
Just
get someone else.
Interesting.
Or just don't use the character. We've seen the Skywalker family in every single project.
Let it go.
They don't need to. There's so many great characters.
They've built on Mandalorian and even on Boba Fett with some of the characters they brought in from the animated series. They've got 20 great charecers now that they can work with. I'm okay with Luke Skywalker going away, yeah.
Ahsoka is the most popular character.
Absolutely. I'd be okay with focusing on her. If it had been her that rescued Grogu and not Luke Skywalker, I would have been totally fine with that. Oh, great. A Jedi is here to pick up the kid. Perfect.
I think the problem is just now we know where Luke Skywalker ends in this version, and it's not good.
And here's my thing: if they wanted to take a solo approach to him, okay, say Sebastian Stan,
good choice.
Perfect.
They cast him, and you could easily have a Skywalker spinoff. You know what I mean? Have Luke. What's Luke been up to in those 30 years? You know what I mean? There's a lot of lore, and obviously it's different. It's different than what it used to be now because Disney changed.
It used to be so much better.
Yeah, it was a whole thing in the expanded universe. What they were up to after the original trilogy. Now it's we're just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, it sucks.
Where they go with that, I don't know. They're probably going to have to skip forward in time after the sequel trilogy. I mean, I think there's still room to grow. You could do a prequel to the prequels, which sounds ridiculous.
Sure, you can, and they might.
Old Republic.
I mean, that's what Game of Thrones is doing.
Yeah.
Is a prequel hundreds of years before.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And that's interesting. I want to see more Jedi stuff.
The Old Republic's the way to go. I mean, you have Exar Kun, Darth Bane, Darth Vitiate, which, man, what a fucking beast that is.
I don't understand this.
Okay,
I've heard of Dark.
These are names that are new to me. So.
I've heard of Dark Bane. But that's about it.
Darth Vitiate is like Palpatine, but like on steroids, if that's even imaginable. He lived for like 2,000 years.
Nice.
He got like reanimated like 4 times. He like ate planets.
He ate planets.
Well, he did like force rituals to suck all the souls out of a planet.
That's sick.
Yeah,
I would like to see
which is
shit like
how
that.
he lived for so long. He waged like 4 wars for like 3 different empires. He's who sent Revan against the Republic. He started the first major Mandalorian war between the Republic and Mandalorians.
See, when I saw that on the stuff on the Mandalorian with him being wiped out and stuff, I'm like, I hope we get more of this older lore with this.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, because the old lore is
the fantasy element.
Right.
Of it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
So if you've ever played KOTOR, which you have,
yeah, a little bit. Knights of the Old Republic is like a
really good game, by the way. Really,
It's a fun
old,
RPG.
But,
Sure.
but that, as Revan, basically Revan got brainwashed by Vitiate to go and attack the Republic to weaken it so he could attack the Republic. Long story short, if you watch the Old Republic like shorts,
Mhm.
the Eternal Empire with the 2 brothers, the dad is Vitiate.
Okay.
I forget what it's called, but it's a really good short. Basically, it shows that the 2 brothers lead the Eternal Empire to defeat the Sith and the Jedi, and they bring it back to their dad, and their dad is like always disappointed, and then one of them kills the other.
It's like a Cain and Abel kind of situation.
Yeah, basically. And then, long story short, they kill the dad.
Told you, this guy knows.
Eventually.
There's so much more knowledge Sean has about Star Wars too. But I mean, yeah, I don't think that they'll. Do you think there's any chance of them actually bringing back this lore, or do you think it's just like, we're gonna hire some fucking writer to have his take on it?
They have to.
They're bringing it back a little bit. Like, technically, in The Rise of Skywalker, all the Sith troopers, which are the Red Troopers,
Yeah.
they were designated legions by the Sith Lord, and, like, one of them was Revan, which canonizes Revan, but,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't canonize what?
We got obviously all the voices of the Jedi, and it's like,
Oh, my God.
if we would have
Don't
like
fucking
actually
get me
seen,
started.
if we would have seen the Force Ghost,
Right.
that would have been kind of all right.
All right, look, 2 lightsabers to block lightning that he could have stopped and kills him.
The fact that
Yeah.
he's there in the first place is just, at this point, it's like
Yeah.
anything can fucking
You-
happen.
you
There's
want-
a million Death Stars
Do you want
around.
my
Right,
hottest take? You want my hottest take on Star Wars?
Yeah,
Force Awakens is the worst.
really.
Yeah, because it sets it all up.
I mean, like, yeah.
Okay, so The Force Awakens is the best standalone movie, but it starts the whole Empire thing again. Empire was defeated at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And Force Awakens just brings back the same conflict and invalidates everything he did before.
Right.
The Jedi aren't back.
Even brings back the same big bad.
Exactly. Jedi aren't back. Death
Right.
Star is back. Darth Vader 2.0.
Right.
Right? Your characters aren't together anymore. Their kids don't exist. The Republic is in shambles again. I mean, it just resets.
I will give you that. Yeah, the worst thing with The Force Awakens is that J.J. Abrams robbed us of the opportunity to see the 3 actors together again.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, why didn't we see
Right.
all 3 of them together? We didn't get to
it
see
robbed
more.
us of an original story. You
Sure.
can make Star Wars without retelling the same thing.
That's true.
And as it's a sequel series, why not come up with some new bad military, bad force to
There's
deal
so
with
many
it?
options.
There's so many options. It could have been a planet of the Darth Maul creature that decided to take over the universe, and I would have been on board.
The Dathomirians
Right.
aren't all Force sensitive.
Still,
You know,
neither is the Empire.
Well, yeah.
we could have
Yeah.
got a new Sith Lord. I
The
think
witches-
Something, a new Sith Lord, a brand new Sith
Okay,
Lord would have
so
been great.
if you want to do that in Legends, Darth Caedius is basically Kylo Ren, but the
Mhm.
original version, and he was Han Solo and Leia's son, and his twin Jaina was, I guess, what Rey would be based off of. Way better characters. Anyways, they fought an entire war against beings that aren't sensitive to the Force and use like living weapons. Long story. Anyways, he gets tortured, and then he spends like 5 years after that war like exploring the Force.
Sure.
And he goes and looks at like other like sects and how they use the Force. So like the Keldor,
Mhm.
which is what Plo Koon is, that race.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, they have like their own like sages that do like special Force stuff. And he eventually gets like seduced by the dark side, and he doesn't. What?
Again?
It's his first time.
Oh, this is the. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I gotta finish it.
But he like doesn't get that he's doing it bad because he's being manipulated by someone. But he's like doing it to make the Republic like secure, and he ends up just being a bad guy and killing everyone. He kills Mara Jade Skywalker, which is Luke Skywalker's wife. Spoiler, real badass. by the way.
Spoiler, yeah, spoiler, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kills her, which sends Luke into a fucking crippling depression, by the way, which is entertaining.
So there is... sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No,
so I'm just going to say, so there is plenty of lore out there that they could work with if they would just have the balls to kind of branch away from the Empire.
Yeah. The best part is, you have so many strong female protagonists in that.
Sure.
Mara Jade Skywalker, Jaina Solo. I mean, like...
Here's the thing, too. They're going to milk the teat of the OG Star Wars until it's
clearly,
gone.
right.
I personally think it's gone. And
it's definitely gone.
Obi-Wan is kind of disappointing right now. I mean, I've watched 2 episodes. You've seen it all.
I've seen one, just the first one.
I think it works better. I know that like right now we're moving away from the whole binge culture thing. Netflix is kind of on its way out, and now it's going to be week to weekly programming. I just feel like this should have been a movie. It just feels more cinematic. It feels like the story is continuous. So why not just put it all out as one viewing experience instead of being like it feels weird starting and stopping. It's like I just want to watch this story unfold, and the story itself so far
is all right.
It's all right. It's not worth the hype, you know? And it's like, do better, Star Wars. Like, you've got all the fucking money in the world.
Right.
Do better.
Well, with him doing The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and Boba Fett all kind of within a 5-year period setting of each other between Part 6 and Part 7, do you think that that's a problem? Would you rather see them, like, do a series with new characters set post-Part 9?
Not really.
I mean, I'm just curious.
Well, no,
what they're going to do with series? Do you want to see them get away from so much of the OG Star Wars and like, hey, we're getting away from Obi-Wan Kenobi and Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker and whoever else is still around, and going on to something else where we kind of use the lore, right? We use the world we've created.
Sure.
But we can start with new characters, good and bad.
The problem is they just don't make good stories. I mean, like, Boba Fett was pretty shit until they turned into The Mandalorian season 3.
I agree. It was even 4 boring episodes.
But even the Mandalorian stuff in that show was not that great. Like, it was one big build-up to Boba Fett
fight,
Boba Fett on a Rancor. You know, and it's like...
I'll put this on record. I don't like The Mandalorian.
I
think it's the best Star Wars show, but I don't like it.
We'll see how Season 3 is. I was pretty high on Season 2.
I was too. I liked it.
It retcons a lot that I liked, so I don't like it. I will say the one episode with Bill Burr, the best representation of an Imperial in the series.
You talking about in season 1 or in season 2?
Fuck if I remember.
All right, because he was in one of these season.
I
think it's season 2 when he infiltrates the base.
Takes the helmet off.
When he kills some of the Imperial Guard. Yeah,
I think that was. I mean, do that again. But a movie. That's what Finn should have been.
Dude, I would love to see the Bill Burr's character in a fucking movie now that he's gone off on his own. I would love that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. You said you want to see a story after Episode 9. I said no because I'm not a fan of how they ended it. I don't care where the universe is
That's
at right
fair.
now. You know?
That's fair. It's just because they did such a bad job with Part 9.
Yeah, and I think why I enjoyed the Mandalorian's after the original trilogy. I
like 5 years after the original trilogy,
I like that period. It doesn't make sense that there's fucking clone troopers, or not clone troopers, there's stormtroopers still. It's like...
Did we wipe this army out?
You guys should be gone by now.
Right, yeah.
That's why I like the time period in between Episode 3 and 4. That's my favorite area to be explored. They've been doing it. Obviously, Kenobi's sitting there in that. Rogue One, Solo. Like, I think you can make stories in that.
I think 3 and 4 is probably the best.
In between 3 and 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you want to explore explore like the 20-year period. It's
I mean, if we recast.
Look, if we recast, or we don't focus on this. There's so many people in this universe, you know?
Let's be honest right here. If you just did Boba Fett in that time period without taking his fucking helmet off and did a bounty hunter show, it would be so much better.
I don't like the actor playing Boba Fett. I know he's the fucking clones. Like in the
I don't mind Tamara Morrison. His helmet doesn't come off. That's the whole spiel of Boba Fett. They just transformed Boba Fett into the Mandalorian, and they were left with Boba Fett, and they were like, well, shit.
Do you know that before The Mandalorian was a TV show, I think it was right after, I can't remember if it was right after Rogue One, but it was definitely before the release of Solo, when they were all high on their, like, everybody's getting a Solo film.
Right.
James Mangold was developing a Boba Fett movie.
Would have been so much better.
What the fuck? Yeah, well, he's doing Indiana Jones, so maybe we'll see how he handles the lore. But yeah, to see a Mangold Boba Fett Western type film.
There's literally a 3-book trilogy on Boba Fett after he gets out of the Sarlacc, where he just kills like 100 fucking people for annoying him, basically.
For annoying
him. I want to see that character.
John Wick.
Basically, someone took his ship. He like killed him for it, and then there was a bounty hunter guild who basically was like, you have to like pay us so we can like give you contracts, and so he just killed them all, basically.
Well, it's like, yeah, but basically Boba Fett's been replaced with what's Pedro Pascal's character?
Din Djarin.
Ding ding dong.
Yeah.
He's replaced with Pedro Pascal, and it's like he's a cool character. I like it, but at the same time, like you said, it does retcon a lot of shit, and also it's just like I think I'm just good. Like we just have so much content,
Right?
You know, it's
The
not
problem is
Marvel.
it's just content. It's not good content.
It's filler. It's a lot of junk food. You're right, and that's what kind of like makes it hard to justify the Obi-Wan series.
Sure.
None of it's connected. It's just like pieces that they put in a timeline. They don't connect into one story. Like that's why I like the books. It's just one continuous story with lots of people.
Yeah.
And it fills in everything after episode 6.
So does Star Wars need to go away for a while?
Star Wars needs to fix what
Star Wars isn't going anywhere because it just makes so much money.
Yeah.
But does it need to go away for a while though?
I wouldn't be hurt by that, but as we,
it doesn't.
we've got a new trilogy coming, and the first one, I think the first one is it the first one's being directed by Taika Waititi, or is he doing all of them?
I don't know if
I
he's
think
doing a
it's doing
solo
a
film
solo.
or what he's
Oh,
doing.
is it a solo
I
film?
think it's
I
a solo
think it's
film.
a solo.
Not Han Solo, but like a separate film.
A separate
Yeah.
film, right? It's a standalone.
Apparently, Ryan Johnson has a trilogy that's still being developed.
I knew there was a trilogy in development. I didn't know it was Ryan Johnson that was doing it.
They announced so many, like the
Right.
Benioff and Rice. We're developing a trilogy at one point in time that's not happening now. And
Well, they just can't let their directors fucking direct.
and Feige is developing a Star Wars film.
Really?
Yeah, Kevin
That
Feige.
guy's not fucking busy enough.
Well,
So if you
yeah,
want,
exactly. Yeah, Disney's like, here you go.
Right.
You get a paycheck. You get a paycheck.
Right.
You know, we're gonna milk the teat of the blue milk forever. You know, and it's
Right.
like,
if you want to be honest, there's one untapped area of Star Wars. Just do the Old Republic.
well, they'll fuck it up somehow. Well, I think
Oh,
they are. No, they are.
will-
The
they will
Acolyte.
fuck it up.
There's a series coming called Star Wars: The Acolyte on Disney
There
Plus
you go.
that's going to be covering
Well, that's
the Old Republic.
the High Republic, which is when the Sith are
Oh, shit.
basically like in hiding. It's after the Rule of Two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
if
that'd be
you
interesting. I'd like to
if,
see
if
that.
you
Yeah.
really want to continue with Star Wars, you just do the Old Republic before leading up to Bane, and then do a Darth Bane. And
I
then
would
there
be
you go.
way okay with that.
Darth Bane's a fucking beast. Honestly, Dave Bautista or The Rock would be a great casting because
The Rock.
no, in the comics he's like jacked, like bodybuilder, like C-bum levels of
Kill-
like buff.
Only if The Rock does his eyebrow thing. When he
Yeah.
takes off his hood, and he's like, you know.
And that's what's frustrating for me is the same thing that's frustrating with every bad Superman movie, right? You've got so much content out there, source material.
Yeah.
Why can't you get it right?
Yeah.
Why can't you pick some of these stories? Every Superman movie, I feel like, has kind of sucked a little bit more as they keep coming out. And it's like, you've got 80 years of Superman source material. You
It's
can
like
pull from.
Batman.
Marvel does a much better job of pulling from their source material to make good stories, right? Why is DC, who has more source material, doing such a rough job?
General Zod again.
Yeah,
Lex
exactly.
Luthor.
Yeah, you've got so much shit. And I feel like Star Wars has that too. You've got, over the last 4 decades,
Yeah.
you've got so much other source material to pull cool stories from. Why aren't you? Why do you keep going back to the same well when you've
Also-
got all this shit? You should. So much people say, this is good. This is good. Let's do this.
They also really like using female characters, but they don't use characters that have already been made. Mara Jade Skywalker is the most popular Legends character.
So
Period.
let's see her. Yeah, bring
It's
her
not
out.
even female. It's period.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
the most popular one.
We'll never see it now, though. You know,
But
unless
she-
they retcon everything completely.
Sure.
She
Which
has
she
the easiest time period to do. It's episode 4, right? She's an hand of the Emperor, so she's like an Inquisitor, but like an actual Inquisitor, not the bullshit that they made. She's
She's
like
not flying
below-
around with lightsaber
Yeah,
helicopters.
she's right below Darth Vader.
Yeah.
She was
tattoos,
handpicked as a child by Palpatine and trained by him. Their connection is so powerful that when he was thrown down the reactor shaft, he sent her a message galaxies away saying, "You will kill Luke Skywalker." And for the next 2 decades, that's all she could think about.
See, that sounds like a compelling story because obviously things work out differently.
Yeah.
Well, she kills a clone of Luke
Sure.
Skywalker, and then they get together and have a baby.
See, to me that's a compelling story.
We need
Yeah.
more. We
That's
need more-
Shakespearean. I would like to see that.
We
Right.
need more baby making in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing too. It's like I do want to see more of like the fantasy element because we get a lot of sci-fi
Sure.
stuff, but I want to see like sorcery and like all these like because there
Okay.
is witchcraft in Star Wars. I mean,
So the apprentice to Darth Bane, Darth Zana,
it's a
she
dope name.
yeah,
Darth Zana.
she prioritized in Sith sorcery.
Okay,
So that
cool.
was
Like,
her main thing. That's how she killed Darth Bane, actually.
Going back to Rise of Skywalker, one thing that I did like was they kind of added lore to it a little bit in the beginning. Like, he goes back to Mustafar to find the little fucking, well, I don't remember what it was called, the MacGuffin.
The Wayfinder.
The
Right.
Wayfinder.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Like, it was cool seeing Mustafar. It was cool finding, like, ancient artifacts. I like the whole artifact element of it. Like,
Sure.
they had to go on a little
They
bit
went to
Indiana
the wrong
Jones bit.
place. It wouldn't be on Mustafar.
Sure, sure. Like
It'd be on
the
Korriban.
location, regardless of the location of where they went, I still enjoyed the fact that they were doing stuff like that. The execution was poor.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many Jedi/Sith in the Old Republic alone that if you just copy and paste, because they can't be trusted to retcon it.
Well, also,
Right.
and like I'm kind of down on Kenobi right now, but let's see where they go with the whole Vader thing because I mean, he's obviously in it. Hayden Christensen is confirmed. I want to see. So he builds a castle on Mustafar,
Yes.
and he lives in that castle. I'm
Yes.
assuming by himself.
Sure. He has like droid helpers, but
Still, it's like that's dope. He's like an evil,
Fucking evil
that
Superman,
was-
like living in the
Kinda,
castle of
yeah,
solitude.
that was originally a
Evil wizard,
McFarlane. That was a McFarlane concept art, and then it got transferred to Legends, and then eventually canonized.
And that
for
worked its
Disney.
way back to episode 3, which... Okay, so are we in agreement that 3 is the best prequel?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely,
I mean, there's no
100%.
debate.
Of the three, that is by far the best.
All right, in the original trilogy, we would say Empire.
Empire for sure.
We're not saying Last
It's
Jedi.
not Last
We're
Jedi.
not saying Last Jedi? Oh,
not.
guys.
No, it's not Last Jedi.
All right, well, that's fair. Force Awakens then, probably, huh?
I'd say Force Awakens of the three.
You know what? Fuck them. They've given us so much, they've given us so much content. Out of all the news, we can just
Rogue
pick one
One.
for the Disney
It'd
Star
be
Wars.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
For me, it's Rogue
All
One.
right, Rogue One. We
100%
can say it's
Rogue
Rogue One.
There's
I
no
think
other
there's a
options.
case for Solo, but Rogue One.
Look, Solo just
Solo is not as bad as everyone
It's
says.
fun.
It went up against a lot of Marvel movies.
There's a lot of practical effects in that movie too.
Sure.
A lot of real locations.
The
Woody
problem with
Harrelson.
Solo,
Yeah, great movie.
the problem with Solo was they basically took everything about Han Solo and were like, we have to cram this.
we had to cram it
movie.
into this one origin story, right?
Also,
his dice.
guys,
Oh, his name.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Also, Solo is his actual last name.
Han.
Oh, you're
Solo.
alone.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
call you Solo.
I like that guy's style.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
you're right. You're right. Solo. you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can say Han alone.
We had to
He
get
has Han by
Chewbacca. We had to
himself.
get his blaster. We had to get his dice.
He
We
has
had,
a cousin who tries to kill him.
Right.
Reconciled Solo in the Legends books.
You know
he
what?
becomes the like chancellor.
But I
of
definitely
Corellia.
hate the fact that the actor got blamed for how that movie didn't.
Oh, yeah.
play.
Why? Yeah, he was the
Okay,
best part of the
he
movie.
was.
Star Wars has
Thanks,
this
John
problem
Williams.
where they fucking blame the actors on everything.
They do.
Like Jar Jar sucks, but it's not the actors' fault.
That's not the actor's fault. That's
Yeah.
a concept that
Yeah.
was retarded
That is
to
a
begin
George
with.
Lucas
Sorry.
problem.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just very, very passionate about how much I hate Jar Jar.
Like
Fuck it. I'm
all-
gonna wear a Jar Jar shirt next time we come
I
over
mean,
here.
please don't.
like Ray, Finn, and Poe
The ears.
are horrible characters.
They
but
are.
The actors did a really good job.
Daisy
considering-
Ridley is a fantastic actress.
Well,
Also,
like,
I like John Boyega.
like
as
even
well.
Liam Neeson, after doing the first one, was like, I almost want to quit acting after having to do
You know what the best part
what I
is?
did in this.
Sure, yeah.
Out of every actor, Liam
Best part of the
Neeson
movie.
is the most willing to come back for roles. Whenever they ask him to voice it, he does it for free.
Sure.
I'm calling it right now. $20 he shows up in the fucking Obi-Wan show.
Well, yeah, they're trying to get his Force Ghost. Of course, he shows up.
Well, okay. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Like, please talk to me, Master Qui-Gon.
Well, I think he is because
Master
he did it. He
Quaggle.
did an interview a couple of months ago where he's like, I wouldn't mind doing Star Wars, but I don't want to do TV. I want to do movies, which is probably a wink, wink. I'm definitely showing up on the TV
Yeah,
show
yeah.
He
as,
showed
as,
up
as a
in-
deflection thing.
He showed up in Clone Wars.
Right.
He had like a one-episode cameo. Just showed up, did some.
It was
voice work.
legit
Yeah.
Liam Neeson, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's definitely gonna be there.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know.
Clone Wars is great, by the way. You guys should watch it.
Okay,
I've heard
yeah,
nothing.
let's-
I've heard nothing but good things about Clone Wars. I'm not knocking. I don't know. I think it maybe it's because it was animation. I always just assumed
There's
that it was a kid show.
There's a list I gave to him, and I can send to you. But
Sure.
there are definitely episodes you do not want to watch.
Oh yeah.
It's not chronological,
Okay.
so some of them are just fucking ass.
It's just like
Yeah.
one-off episodes, like bottle episodes.
I would say about 50% is bad.
Oh really?
Yeah,
That's like
That's a big
how
percentage.
enticing.
Yeah.
that sounds bad. But
Half
it's,
of this will suck.
the difference is it's not like a show you have to watch every episode.
Sure.
It's like 4-episode arc, 2-episode arc, 1-off episode, 1-off episode, 4-episode arc. They're not connected outside of they take place within here to here.
Sure.
Yeah. Like I
Like-
said, we've seen so much of the Star Wars pilot stuff. I just want to see like Jedi's doing
Yeah.
cool Jedi stuff at this point.
That's why you should do the Old Republic. Tons of Jedi
But like also the Clone Wars I
and
feel like
Sith,
the Clone Wars has that, like the Jedi stuff. It's quite
Yeah.
literally the prequels.
but they're not a lot of big battles.
So-
If you want to see a lot of like Jedi battles, you go back to the Mandalorian Wars. It was just Jedi versus Sith and Mandalorians.
So what are the odds that our sequels are parts 10, 11, and 12? Because we need to have a Jedi, it's all going to be Rey as the central character.
I will kill myself.
I was literally just going to say that.
I mean, that is probably the only available Jedi at this point, right?
No. You have Ahsoka come back, kill her, and continue on. She can be a Sith, that's fine. As long as Rey dies.
I don't know why, but in the movie theater, at the very end of The Rise of Skywalker, when she's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Rey." And she's like, "Rey who?" For some reason in my head, I literally was just like, "Romano." like, please say Romano.
Everybody loves Rey.
Yeah, everybody loves Rey.
I just want to... The biggest disrespect is not only did she take Anakin's name, she put his lightsaber in the sand. On his home planet of Tatooine, which he fucking hates.
I hate sand. Yeah.
He fucking hates
so
Tatooine
sad.
so much.
Here's my fucking problem. One, let's stop Tatooine. We've been to Tatooine.
Oh my god, I'm so
Tatooine.
tired of Tatooine.
I get it.
It's cheaper to shoot on sand,
yeah,
right?
for sure. We get it. Two, how the fuck do they have that lightsaber? That lightsaber is lost in the Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? Like that, it's cut off with his hand. It's gone. It's in the fucking the gas in Cloud City.
There's a story as to how he gets it back.
But still, it's like it's fucking gone. You know what I mean? Like,
shouldn't be in Rey's hands. That's for sure.
How do they get
also,
it?
They fucking in a museum or whatever. They have it labeled as Rey's lightsaber. Fuck no.
Fuck no.
Shit.
That is
Fuck
the Youngling Slayer 5000. All right,
the Youngling Slayer 5000.
Yeah.
That is Anakin's weapon.
But here's the thing too: they're treating that like it's Excalibur. No, that's quite literally the
weapon of a murderer.
Sure, but also like if you think about it like thematically, that was Luke's lightsaber. Like Luke's kind of a little bitch in Empire, right?
Sure.
He's not a Jedi yet. He's not a Jedi. He complains the whole movie. He's not prepared. He goes and gets his
ass handed to him.
Literally, yeah. And it's like that's supposed to be like an actual representation of that. Like it's he's not experienced. He wants to don his father's lightsaber, but he has to get his own. He has to forge his own and come back wiser.
He also uses Qui-Gon's crystal. That's why it's green.
I did not know that. How did you even get that though?
It's a long story.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but the point is like that lightsaber is meant to be like disregarded and just gone because you're supposed to move on from that. Like the whole point is growth. It's the best coming of age story of the first trilogy. You know what I mean? And it's like we're just gonna go back. Oh, remember this lightsaber? Remember this? Remember that?
Right.
Oh, remember
I always think it's really funny that in the original Star Wars Episode 4, Luke's like, I'm on a boring... When he wants to leave, he's like, nothing ever happens here. Tatooine is so boring. And then we have 9,000 follow-ups. He's like, Tatooine is the craziest goddamn place in the whole galaxy.
Well, it's a little town.
You're 5 minutes away from this like city where all kinds of shit's going down.
You've been to the cantina of Scum and Military? I don't like you. He doesn't like you either. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Name a more iconic place than Tashi Station.
Tashi Station, yeah.
Just want to go to Tashi Station, get some power converters.
You know, I'm down on Tatooine, but I would love to go to Mos Eisley. Mos Eisley, like, I'd watch a TV show set Mos Eisley, this weird criminal underbelly shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just do Star Wars 1313, there you go. Way more interesting.
That was Coruscant, though, which Coruscant also seems disgusting.
Coruscant's an entire planet city.
Planet City.
That's what it is. The entire planet is a city.
Of steel and iron.
Still, it'd be a nice change of pace from the desert that we're getting in everything.
Okay, you could do an Old Republic series because in that the Sith invade the Jedi Temple at Coruscant and slaughter them.
I would love that as a setting.
It's in one of the Old Republic trailers, the cinematic trailers, where they fucking take over Coruscant.
I'm trying to think of
that like 3-second clip is better than all the sequels.
In the new trilogy, is there a single planet that we can name besides Crate? I think the only one that like really stood out was The Last Jedi. Ironically, was the Crate, the Salt Planet.
Yeah. Yes, the Hoth.
Which is basically Hoth. Yeah. Right. But it's like, but even still, it's like, is there any planet that stands out in the sequel trilogy?
Yavin 4. Oh wait.
Yavin 4. Yeah. That's a callback.
Yeah.
Jakku is literally just Tatooine. In my
right. Oh, 100%. Completely.
Why wasn't it just Tatooine?
Why not just set it on Tatooine?
Because that'd be too similar.
Too on the nose for what they're doing, yeah.
Like, literally, I'm just so tired of, like, Disney Star Wars. Like, they're, in a weird way, guys, this might be a bit of an overreaction. They're kind of raping our childhood a little bit.
They are. They're mining, and they're going for nostalgia way too hard. This is fan service in a bad way.
They're not introducing anything new.
But here's the thing. They were doing the whole nostalgia thing for the original trilogy. Now they're doing it for the prequels.
Right.
Look, we have Hayden Christensen.
Right.
You guys still like Star Wars?
Right.
They're not doing it well. Look,
yeah, we got Ewan McGregor.
Also, like, the sequel trilogy does not have good choreography at all.
I like the fight scene in the Last
I know
Jedi. That's
you
very
like-
well choreographed.
It is horribly choreographed, as you can watch in slow motion.
Okay, the people in the background that are just waiting.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're waiting for their cue, or like when
Right.
she kicks one guy and 3 of them falls back, or when all 3 of them meet her lightsaber right here instead of stabbing her,
It's
Right,
because
yeah.
they're all linked together with the Force.
or when one guy
I'm one with the Force.
one guy has 2 he has 2 swords. He goes for the cut and then it cuts and he has 1 sword. Like,
Yeah.
No, the fight scene in The Last Jedi is horrible. It's the best out of the sequel trilogy.
I was going
but
to say
it's bad.
the fight scene in Part 9 at the end, the climax with Palpatine. I
That's
was
not a fight
was so out of I was so
That's-
done with caring at that
I
point.
was so sad.
That's
Yeah.
so
I was just
disrespectful.
upset.
I was upset too, 100%.
I was like, why?
Why are we doing this again?
It's so disrespectful. In so many
It
ways.
is disrespectful.
It was just the ending of Return of the Jedi done less interestingly.
I am all the Sith,
Right, yeah.
and I am all the Jedi.
Give me your best. Do it.
do it.
Damn, that was really good. Holy shit. Fuck yeah. But yeah, and like here's the thing. It was great to see Palpatine again. But
Not
it's
like that.
Not like. I felt like literally. It was like the chick from the Matrix.
yeah.
You know, not like this. Not like this. Like to fall over. It's like,
Right.
why, man? Like why?
He came back in Legends, and it wasn't received horribly well, but it was still done better.
But his
Right.
character came to an end. Just
Yes.
fucking. You're a
it
writer.
was-
You're paid millions of dollars. Create.
It was
Make
cover
something
right.
new.
it
Like,
was a clone, same story. It was just done better because it was a book.
Sure.
It wasn't the climax of a movie
Right.
trilogy.
And see, that's what I think. I think Joe's right. You're a writer. Do better. How long do you think that decision to bring it back took? When they do 4 minutes?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was
It was
like,
the wrong amount of time.
Who's gonna? Yeah, we've killed Snape. Who are we gonna have for the big bad? And,
Not
oh,
Kylo, obviously.
right. Yeah, not Kylo because he's got to get his redemption story.
the funny thing
We'll
is,
just bring back Palpatine. Great, done. Run with it.
Redemption can happen in 1 second,
But why
Right.
didn't they just
Doesn't
have
mean-
Adam Driver do it? He had already been nominated for a fucking Oscar at that point in time.
which was
Right.
shocking.
Just let him fucking be the goddamn villain. He's a
Yeah.
more than competent actor.
Yeah, he's a talented actor.
Which is a real shame for him because those were horrible movies.
Yeah, he was way better than the movies that he was
Imagine
in there.
being a
You're
competent
not my
actor.
dad. I killed my dad. That's
Right.
literally, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he was just a fucking school shooter.
Yeah.
That's literally what
God
Kylo
damn.
Ren is. I'm sorry, that was very dark. I
That's
apologize,
okay.
But he's like an emo kid. He was just a whiny bitch.
Yeah, he was a whiny bitch. That's 100% true.
Which is really fucking
He was
annoying.
Darth Vader if Darth Vader's a whiny bitch.
But like literally, like he's like
He's Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
But,
he's
but,
Anakin
but the
Skywalker,
fight
yeah.
on Crate when he's there with Luke Skywalker, he's like, "You're not Han Solo." You know,
Right.
I killed Han Solo. It's like, bro,
More!
that was.
It was really funny.
It was kind of Rick Moranis
It
esque a
was,
little
totally,
bit. Yeah, a little
yeah.
bit, yeah. But fucking, I don't know. And here's my thing: people like have the argument that's like, well, you know, people are shitting on Star Wars now, like the same reason they shit on the prequels. It's not for you; it's for this generation. It's like,
the
then
prequels-
why are they hitting on all this nostalgic beats? If it's
Right.
not for us, why are they?
Why is Han
pandering to us?
Solo
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Right, yeah.
The prequels were not. The third one was decent, but the
Yeah.
prequels are not good.
Episode 3 is
Okay, episode 3 is iconic.
it's iconic.
Not good.
For us, yeah, okay, let's because Tarantino famously has said that like Episode 3 is a piece of shit.
Right.
I love episode 3.
maybe quality wise,
but
maybe, but it's still visually fucking fantastic. I love it.
it's definitely
great.
better after you've seen Clone Wars. I'll put it.
It's just
there.
good. I like Episode 3. Episode
I will
3 is a
say,
good movie. I would say it's a good movie.
The prequels are still better than the sequels. They're at least original.
Prequels are better than the sequels.
They tell a concise story that has a point to be told. It's
Yeah.
not told well, but it's told.
Sure.
Attack the Clones should not have been a movie.
The acting
Right.
is pretty rough. I think the reason the acting is so stiff and rough in the prequels is because they don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah, they green screen
Yeah,
way too
yeah.
much of that.
No, it's the same thing with The Hobbit, right? When
Right.
The Hobbit
Sure.
decided to have too much green screen,
Yep.
it was shit.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings was good because it didn't have all the green screen. There you go. It's so simple. Green
It's-
screen
yeah.
isn't bad; just takes away a lot.
It takes away a lot from the actors.
It's
and their
fun
performance, for
acting
sure.
with air.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
Lucas is all about the digital filmmaking. He
Yeah.
wants to. He
Good
kind of
for
in a way pioneered it. Like if you really do want to be real, there is no Marvel without the prequel trilogy
Oh,
because
yeah.
they invented
Sure.
and were the first to do a lot of that
Right,
stuff.
Between
you know?
Attack the Clones and Two Towers, I mean, that did a lot
yeah,
for CGI.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Between Weta and then is it like Industrial Lights and Magic? I think is what
Yeah.
Lucas's
Yeah.
thing is.
Mhm.
You know, so and I think Marvel. They use. I don't think they use Weta. They're not definitely not Weta. I
They
think
used
are
they used
Industrial Lights and
Weta
Magic.
for Infinity War.
They
For-
did. Okay.
For a
Wow.
little. Well, they used.
I'm
Like,
sure they're using a shitload of people.
they used like
for
100
yeah.
studios for Thanos. I think Weta
Yeah.
had they had 4 scenes.
Oh.
So they were talking about it on Corridor Crew.
But that's still like really. I mean, we don't have what we have today without the prequel trilogy. So we should all thank George Lucas.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But if you think about it, the CGI, like the Clone Troopers in Attack of the Clones, was really bad.
Yep.
That is not why the movie is bad.
The
movie is bad because he's a bad writer.
He is a bad writer. He knows he can't write dialogue to save his life.
He's not a great director either, for being real. He's a great storyteller. Though.
Yeah, great world builder, for sure.
His writing between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith got a whole lot better, though.
Sure.
Revenge of the Sith is...
There's some moments in that film that are actually really well done. He said he used, like, The Godfather for inspiration. Like, there's that scene of, like, Order 66 is straight up out of the fucking Godfather, you know? But...
Revenge of the Sith has really good lines in comparison. A little corny, sure.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You know, like, it's literally like...
Okay, well, not the romance.
Okay, the romance bit. It's still sad. I mean, it seems like in your anger, you killed her. I couldn't have. No. Like, that's pretty cheesy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate that they took that. No.
Everything on Mustafar, though.
Yeah, I love that. It's good shit.
Everything between Anakin and Obi-Wan were great.
Definitely, that was the craziest thing I'd seen in the theater when I was a kid.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the best choreography.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, like, I'm talking about, like, Anakin getting his legs chopped off.
Yeah, that was, like, intense. That was intense, yeah.
Honestly, when I saw, spoiler for the third episode of Obi-Wan, Stormtrooper gets cut in half. Not by a lightsaber. It's by, like, a laser. But still, I was shocked they showed that.
Right.
Well, Rogue One, I think that's probably the craziest, like, level of violence. I mean, with Darth Vader.
Everyone's dead at the end, yeah.
Well,
the Darth Vader scene was great. It was actually scary. They made Darth Vader actually frightening.
It was fucking wild.
Yeah.
They did that with Darth Maul in the last Clone Wars season. It's really fucking good. He throws a piece of bulkhead at a clone and chops him in half.
See, that's awesome.
I want to see more wild shit in Star Wars.
Clones are running away, and the door is closing, and he pulls one and holds his arm there until he gets chopped off by the door.
Oh, Jesus. So, firing from the hip, favorite Star Wars?
Probably Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, well, that's mine too. So
it's definitely 3.
Oh, wow.
Really?
2 5s and a 3.
Okay, 5 is definitely better.
Right.
But if you're asking my favorite, it's definitely Revenge of the Sith.
The weakest?
I'm going with
the sequels.
Rise of Skywalker. Just, you know, it's not even just all the stuff Sean mentioned, which is all completely legitimate. It's dead Princess Leia doing a Superman flight back into the ship after
killing Admiral
that was
Akbar like
Last
that.
Jedi.
Oh, sorry. Was it Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Mary Poppins, where she's Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant.
But she is dead in, in real life, she's dead.
Right.
Wow.
Well, sorry. I mean, she is. They fucking straight up put her in the movie. You know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's
Admiral
very
Akbar.
noticeable, too.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, the Mary Poppinsing back into the ship bothered
Killing
me
Admiral Akbar like that.
a lot.
Killed my heart.
Yeah, they did Akbar so dirty.
Yeah. Also, they did Wedge so dirty. Jesus. Wedge has so much story in Legends.
Does he die?
No, he just shows up for like one
Briefly,
scene.
right, yeah.
In the very last movie?
Yeah. He shows up in the when they show up to save with Lando, I think.
Well,
what?
I mean, remember, you can't recast him, so if we're gonna
look. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't see why they have
87.
He's 87 years old. It's like he wants to go get some brewskis. Trying to play 30.
How come we never got a Porkins reference? Yeah, I mean, why did they ever bring Porkins
Everyone
back?
loves Porkins, yeah.
Who the fuck doesn't love Porkins?
Porkins gets a lot of references in Legends.
Fun fact about Porkins. That actor,
He's
was
fat.
he was in that Star Wars, he was in Indiana Jones, and he was also in Batman.
Good for him.
I know. The Holy Trinity of Porkins. Anything else you want to add about Star Wars, guys?
Last Jedi sucks.
It does, I agree.
It's so fast.
I hope that they're heading in a better direction than they have been. That's all I'll say, is I hope that they can clean it up a little bit. I have hope with what Favreau's doing. That doesn't mean that's going to transfer to the films in any way.
Let's see. Rose Tico is worse than Jar Jar Binks.
Nothing is worse than Jar Jar Binks.
I don't know. When she saved him from that giant laser, because
love.
It was bad.
Because love, Sean.
But then
was she? I don't even remember. Was she in Part 9? I hated
Yes.
Part 9 so much. I don't remember most of it.
They sidelined her so hard. She
Did
was
they?
just a general.
Oh,
I love that in Part 9, the dude from Lost was just there to fucking be the exposition piece. You know?
That's a
Dark
thankless
magic.
role. Yeah.
Science. And he just like making like these like confused like faces, you know.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
All right.
And you, last thoughts for you?
Just do better, goddammit. Just do fucking better, Lucasfilm. Or it's not even Lucas. Like, is it? It's Lucasfilm.
It's still technically
but
Lucasfilm,
it's
right?
Disney.
It's
It's
Disney.
the mouse. The mouse.
The
Needs
mouse
to be better.
owns Lucasfilm. Do better,
When
mouse.
it was not owned by the mouse, it was better. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Hopefully they let George Lucas in, but you know,
He doesn't
We're all-
want to be.
we're
Don't blame him.
all sheeple. We're gonna watch it regardless. Just make it better for our sake, please.
Just pull a Feige, find someone who's a Star Wars fanboy to be in charge of everything, and not someone who's just trying to crank out content.
stop cranking it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, from us to you,
Thanks for coming on with us, Sean,
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you.
Anytime.
may the force be with you.
and also with you.
Always.